Alright, welcome to episode 1 of Character Archives, the mini-series where I take a look at old kit reveals and developers' insights from characters that were released before my channel existed, so I wasn't able to make videos at the time. This more or less is going to be for newer players who are going to be coming up on these characters and maybe find these little guides and information on them useful. So, obviously, we have first CLS. CLS is one of the best characters that you can unlock in the game, especially as an early player, and most likely is going to be one of the first characters you unlock, so this only made sense for me to tackle him first. So, let's get into it. He unlocks that 7-star because he is a journey event character. Also, the good thing about this series is, unlike the normal kit reveals and developers' insights, they come out before the character's even in the game yet, so I know nothing about them other than what the kit reveal and such says. These characters are already out, I have them, I've been using them, so I can actually provide a little bit more, potentially, to really highlight either if they're A, good, or B, mid. So anyways, we have the abilities. The basic attack is called Destined Strike. The story behind this is deal physical damage to target enemy and inflict speed down and defense down for 2 turns. If the target already had speed down, remove 30% turn meter. If the target already had defense down, inflict stun for 1 turn. Is that how that works? A defense down, they got stun? Did not know that. CLS is a very good character though. Special attack. Use the force. Boom boom. The storyline on this is deal physical damage to target enemy, dispel all buffs on them, and remove 100% turn meter and inflict buff immunity and tenacity down for 2 turns. Reduce the cooldown of this ability by 1 if the target didn't have full health, which it normally has a cooldown of 4. This is always a very good move. I like using it against somebody who's taunting because now they're no longer taunting. Like it says, dispel all buffs. Taunt is a buff. Special ability, Call to Action. This one's great for recovering health and protection. Always a favorite. And you get a buff. So let's get into it though, the actual details. Dispel all debuffs on Luke. Luke gains 100% turn meter and recovers 40% max health and 40% protection. If Luke doesn't have the Call to Action unique buff, he gains it until the next time this ability is used, which has a cooldown of 4. What does Call to Action do? He ignores taunts during his turn and has plus 50% accuracy, plus 50% critical chance, and plus 50% critical damage. Can't be dispelled or prevented. Very solid move. Gets rid of all debuffs, gives you health and protection recovery, and gives you tons of bonuses. Sick move. His leader ability, leader, very good. Rebel allies have plus 50% counter chance, plus 50% defense, and plus 15% offense. Whenever an enemy resists a detrimental effect, rebel allies gain 5% turn meter. Maybe that's not the leader ability, but I know that they also like to always regularly mass assist attack. Not mass assist, but they always offer like an assist. So you get a lot of extra attacks in because your team is, it's one character's turn, but 3 of you win. Anyways, unique ability, Learn Control. While Luke doesn't have Call to Action, he has plus 50% counter chance, plus 50% critical avoidance, and plus 50% defense, plus 100% tenacity, and gains 10% turn meter whenever another rebel ally takes damage. Okay, Learn Control sounds almost like Call to Action. It does the same things. Gets 50% accuracy, critical chance, and critical damage. Down here, he gets plus 50% counter, critical avoidance, and defense, okay. So actually, is that extra stuff in addition to that? Ooh, I never realized that before. Anyways, last one. Unique ability. It binds all things. Luke has plus 40% potency. Whenever Luke resists a detrimental effect, he recovers 5% health and 5% protection. Whenever Luke inflicts a debuff, he gains 10% turn meter and other allies gain half that amount. So, he has 3 Zetas and all 3 are on these abilities. The leader and these 2 uniques. And I would say, if you're a new player, put the Zetas on him in this order. Put the leader ability on first, because you're going to want him to be your leader. He's probably the best rebel leader. Maybe what's his name? Radis is better. Not entirely sure, I don't use him, but maybe he's better. But other than him, CLS is by far your best leader. Every good Rebel team has him as they. Well, Mon Mothma is good, but she's also good in her own faction. She needs Rebel fighters, which is slightly different than just straight up regular Rebels. So if you're going regular Rebels, you're going to want CLS. Then the second one, Zeta I'd say to give him is the Learn Control one. I think the first time I played, I did it binds all things, so in my main account, but then I realized Learn Control is probably better. It gives him all these bonuses. While he doesn't have call to action, he has this. Like, it's good. And he gains 10% turn meter whenever a rebel ally takes damage. So he's got 4 allies at least. If they all take damage, it's 40% turn meter just right there. You know, it's pretty solid. Plus 100% tenacity, you know, it's just a bunch of good stuff. Give it to him. Get him as juicy as you can. Then give him It Binds All Things. Now, you're going to want to focus on CLS only, though. Like, say you have another Zeta, and you're like, should I worry about that? Should I give it to somebody else? No, stick with CLS. Get him as juicy as possible. But just give him those Zetas in that order. Leader, Unique 1, and then Unique 2. And then you're going to have a super solid character. I mean, you could probably bring in semi-crappy Rebels, like, you know, maybe Gear 10, where your CLS is Gear 12, or maybe even, you know, low relics. But just him alone will make them a lot better. He's super good. Very solid character. Anyhow, from the actual developers, they say general strategy. Luke's special, Use the Force, is devastating, stripping all buffs and turn meter from the target, and then preventing further buffs from being applied through buff immunity. Luke's lead grants counter chance to the entire Rebel faction for the first time. With all the high damage attackers within the Rebels, using an AoE against them becomes an interesting proposition of whether the counter-strike might hurt more than the intended AoE attack. See, it says Luke's lead grants counter chance, but I didn't see that when I read it. Oh, plus 50% counter chance. There it is. Never mind. Yeah, and that counter chance, though, even though it's only 50%, it's like pretty rapid fire. It's almost like it's 100%. They're always constantly countering, which is awesome. And they're assisting with one another. I don't know if that counts as a counter, but yeah, they always like to fight in mass. Anyhow, they say a lot of high damage attackers within Rebels. I'm not sure who they're talking about. I mean, I guess there are some, but the problem with them, like Wedge. Wedge hits pretty hard. Biggs can too. Leia can. But the problem is they don't really last. They don't have good health, protection, defense, all the other stuff. I don't know, maybe it's just how I modded mine so they don't last. But yeah, they hit hard, but they're kind of easy to kill. So, I don't know. Anyways, use Luke's second special to grant himself the call to action buff when you need to get through a taunting tank and finish off a wounded enemy. Yes, I just said that. The tanks are annoying. Like, if you're going up against, like, Royal Guard and the thing's taunting, boom! Call to action, tear that thing right off. Now you're no longer taunting. Now you're free to go wherever you want or need to go instead of dealing with that stupid Royal Guard, wasting your time whittling down his health more. Hero synergies. Pair Luke with allies that can provide speed down and or defense down so that Luke's basic can proc the more powerful secondary effects of turn meter remove and stun earlier rather than later. I don't know what that proc is supposed to be. Using Rebels with AoE debuffs such as Obi-Wan Kenobi, Old Ben, Cassian, R2-D2, or Scarif Rebel Pathfinder under a Luke lead can help versus enemies that repeatedly apply tenacity up. A full 5 enemies resisting an AoE debuff supplies 25% turn meter to all Rebel allies, which would be doubled to 50% when figuring that Obi-Wan's mind trick applies too. Luke's lead and R2's are a match made in heaven, as each counterattack gives another opportunity to critical hit and cleanse all debuffs from the character. Alright, so all those hero synergies obviously are valid. The game, you know, these are the people that made the game. They obviously know what synergies are going to work and what have you. I would say this, though. Some of these that they're offering... Now, Luke came out a while ago. There wasn't as many characters as we have now when CLS came out, so this might be a little out of date. But, like, they're suggesting you pair him with Old Ben, Cassian, R2, Scarif Rebel Pathfinder. They're good choices. They are all Rebels, but I wouldn't suggest them. The typical solid team that you want is CLS lead, Han Solo, just regular Han, not veteran. Jeez. Not veteran smuggler Han, not Vandor, young Han, or any of those. Just regular Han. And then you want Chewie. You want Chewie and 3PO, and then you want 3PO. That's basically your all-star rebel team. There's enough power and counterattack and buffs and all that there to make a very solid squad. However, they do say R2. Now, here's the thing with my experience with R2. I used to always use R2. My team used to be all those characters that I just said, except R2 was in place of Chewie and 3PO because I didn't have him yet. And it's not that it worked poorly, but I feel like Chewie and 3PO works much better than R2 did. However, it still is a pretty solid option. And I mean, I never realized about this counterattack stuff, given the opportunity to critically hit and cleanse all buffs for the character. R2 must have something in his kit that works with CLS, not works with CLS per se, but works with something so that counterattacks give a chance to clear debuffs or something. Didn't realize that, but there is that as well. If you're going up against something like, let's say, a Vader squad or something that's gonna just drop debuffs on you non-stop, that could be pretty solid. Then you're constantly cleaning yourself. Anyways, where to use? Luke is one of the most versatile and powerful characters we have released, and can be used in any group in Arena Squad, Raid, Assault Battles, or various other PvE squads. Yes, this was back in 2017 they were saying this, so at the time the game was only 2 years old, but even now, pushing 7 years, that still applies. CLS is still very viable, especially with relics now. You can just relic up the whole squad around him and they're still juicy. CLS is a long-standing, very, very solid character. They don't make too many like him. Normally I like to look at the comments, but there's really no point in this. First off, this is just people fanboying on these ones, like, oh my god, he's so good. And second, again, this is just an older character. I like to read the comments when it's a newer character, just to see what the community thinks of an upcoming character. This guy's been out forever. I just told you what I think about him. So yeah, thanks for checking out this episode 1 with me. I mean, provided that you needed the help. If you're a long-term player, then this was pointless, but if you're a new player, hopefully this brought some kind of value to you. My plan actually is just to go in order based on how they have them on the forums. I'm going to start with characters, then go to ships. Then they get like really old characters that don't even have proper kit reveals and stuff like this. It's kind of just information. So I'll do those last. But if there's anybody that you want to see sooner than later, leave a comment and I'll go over that character. I don't care. You know, these are characters that are already in the game, so it really doesn't matter what order I go in, as long as it gets done. That's all I care. So anyways, yeah, thanks for checking it out. Until next time, that's it. See ya.